Hello and welcome. Welcome to class number 1058. Yes, 1058. If I had $1 billion, I would buy a yacht. If I had $1 billion, if I had $1 million, no. Because yachts, well, nice yachts, a nice yacht, wow, que yatazo. All right. So, but I'm not. If I had $1 million, I wouldn't be able to buy a nice yacht. If I had $1 billion, no problem, man. Yacht, que te creo. So you say, okay, I've got a, but probably I wouldn't buy a yacht anyway. Even if I had $1 billion, I probably wouldn't buy a yacht anyway. And would you buy a private jet? Probably not. If I were 40 years old and I were a billionaire, yes. But at my age now, I'm set in my ways. I'm set in my ways. Estoy ya acostumbrado a mi forma de hacer las cosas, mi vida. And I would probably not change. If suddenly $1 billion fell from the heavens into my hands, I said, wow, I have $1 billion. I probably wouldn't change my life. I would continue teaching this class until 1,200, and then I would stop. But I'm going to stop anyway. I'm not planning on continuing, and it doesn't matter. If I don't continue this, it doesn't matter, because I've finished. In fact, I have gone farther than necessary, because really the only important programs are from program number 1 to program number 250 perhaps. After that, the rest is basically review. For learning from 1 to 250. And in fact, I recommend you review from 1 to 250 and forget the rest. Because that 90% of everything we say is in that section, in this section of the book. This is the important English. Not this, not this part. Well, in this book, no. This book is a reference book. Es de referencia. This book is not in order of level. But in any case. So, in any case, if I had $1 billion, I would buy a yacht. And last year, would you have done the same thing? Last year, if I had $1 billion, I wouldn't have bought a yacht. Listen, if you knew French perfectly, would you move to France? No. If I knew French perfectly, I wouldn't move to France, but I would go there more often, probably. But not to Paris. I would probably go to other towns in rural France, if I knew French perfectly. And 20 years ago, or let's say 40 years ago, if you had known French perfectly, would you have moved to France? 40 years ago, if I had known French perfectly, I might have moved to France. I would have moved to France, I'm not sure. But I might have moved, which means maybe. I might have moved to France if I had known French perfectly. And if you lost your arm, would you continue teaching? Yes. After recovering, I would. If I lost my arm, alguien me está mandando mensajes. If I lost my arm, I would continue teaching. If you lost your eyesight, would you continue teaching? Definitely. If I lost my eyesight, I would continue teaching. It would be fun to teach without being able to see. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here. It's program 1058, and we need to start. Let's work on the past conditional, etc. And so it would be fun. It'd be fun to play the piano. I play the guitar. I never look. When I play the guitar, I'm looking at the floor. I'm not looking at anywhere. And when I played the piano, normally I don't look. So I think if I were blind, if I lost my sight, I would still enjoy playing the piano and the guitar, and it would be an additional challenge to master the pieces I know without being able to see them. There are many very good pianists who are blind. Joaquin Rodrigo, the Spanish composer, Concierto Aranjuez, was blind. Ray Charles, yes, was blind. Of course, Stevie Wonder, he plays the piano very well, is blind. Jose Feliciano is a very good guitarist, and he's blind. There are many very good musicians who are blind. Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach, was partially blind. Yeah, he didn't see very well. So in any case, so music, yeah, there are many things I could continue teaching if I were blind. So for me, personally, to be blind is not a serious handicap. It's a terrible handicap, but it's not serious for the things I enjoy doing when you're blind. In any case, if I were, now, if I had been blind when I was 20, I probably wouldn't have become an English teacher. So son el condicional del hoy y el condicional del ayer. What I call el presente del condicional, si no estuviera aquí, no estaría aquí. If I weren't here, I wouldn't be here, ahora mismo. Si la cámara no funcionara, si la cámara no funcionara, no me verías, ahora mismo. That's now. If the camera didn't work, fijaos que digo didn't, es el pasado simple. Sin embargo, en este caso es condicional. Si no funcionase la cámara, if the camera didn't work, you wouldn't be able to see me. Okay. And yesterday, yes, el pasado condicional. If the camera hadn't worked yesterday, if the camera hadn't, o sea, si no había, en vez de si no hubiera funcionado. If the camera hadn't worked yesterday, you wouldn't have been able to see me. Yeah. Yes. If my father had been born 20 years later, he would still be alive today. If my father had been born 200 years ago, he would have lived until the beginning of the 20th century, and I never would have been born, and he wouldn't be my father, etc. So, the conditionals. Let's move on to expressions. No, this one. Expressions. Que nos depara hoy. What do we have today from our good friend Jimena, la autora, the author? Yes, Jimena. Un encanto. But she's very British. And muy británica. Okay. To kill two birds with one stone. You know that. Matar dos pájaros con una sola piedra. To kill two birds with one stone. Matar dos pájaros de un tiro. Estamos en la edad de la piedra, todo en inglés aquí. To kill two birds with one stone. Yes. It's not difficult to kill two birds with one stone. Literally, yes. But figuratively, in day-to-day life, it's not too difficult to kill two birds with one stone. Yeah. So, yeah. For example, if there's a bully, you hit him in the nose, you solve the immediate problem, and maybe the bully stops being a bully. And so you change the person. So you kill two birds with one stone. The next one, a killer instinct. Instinto matador. Yeah, dice aquí, un instinto asesino, claro. Okay, killer instinct. I remember my son, when he was 7 years old. Le conoces, no? A Jack, 7 years old. My wife took him to classes de judo. Okay, judo classes. And Felix, I remember his name, Felix, the trainer or the teacher, was an Spanish national champion of judo. And after about 5 months, he said to my wife, I don't know with Jack about judo. He doesn't have a killer instinct. So apparently, to be a good judoka, you need to have a killer instinct. Me, I have a killer instinct. More than my son. I have a killer instinct, yes. Yo sí tengo, ¿eh? Instinto asesino. Yeah, asesinar problemas, y asesinar, etc. To kill problems, to kill them dead. Yeah, como Ray. Dead. Problems dead. Como me pico yo otra vez. All right, a killer instinct. Do you have a killer instinct? All right. A killjoy. Wow. A killjoy. A party pooper. A spoil sport and a wet blanket. Toma. Un aguafiestas, vamos. Se dice más, bueno, no. A killjoy. Joy is júbilo. Kill, un mata júbilo. Jubileo, it's alegría, un mata alegría. A killjoy. Are you a killjoy? A party pooper. Curiosa palabra, pooper. A party pooper is un aguafiestas. A party pooper. A spoil sport. Eso no es un aguafiestas. Spoil sport. Okay. Yeah, okay. A spoil sport. Yes. Sport. He's a spoil sport. Yeah, spoiled como es consentido, mimado, mal acostumbrado y que y fastidia las cosas. Es a spoil sport. Si yo no me lo paso bien, nadie se lo va a pasar bien. That's a spoil sport. Un aguafiestas is not the same. A party pooper can be a party pooper without and be happy, but his presence in the party is not very positive. A party pooper, but a spoil sport is a person who has a problem. Has a problem. Es un resentido. A spoiled sport. Yeah. So, and finally, hay un cuarto aquí. A wet blanket. Una manta mojada. Toma, imagina. A wet blanket. I never use wet blanket, but it's common. It's a good expression. He's a wet blanket. Pero no es un aguafiestas, es a wet blanket. Simple alguien que es aburridísimo. Yeah. A wet blanket. A killjoy. Killjoy. A party pooper. I like these expressions. A killjoy, a party pooper. A knee-jerk reaction. Un acto reflejo, una reacción instintiva. Knee-jerk. You know, sometimes when you're sleeping, rodilla, it's a knee-jerk. Jerk. Jerk. Jerk means tiran, de un tirón. Jerk. Okay, jerk. So a knee-jerk reaction. Yeah. I remember when the doctor, you know, sometimes the doctor has this little hammer, a martillito, eso que le da aquí. You know, the last time I went to the doctor, I knew him. Y como quería bromear con ella. Él hace así, y yo go, what? I don't know. Try it again. He says, hit. He says, te estás quedando conmigo. All right. So, but what you can also do is do the other leg, you see. When he hits that, the other leg goes up. I said, what? All right. But that's not a knee-jerk reaction. A knee-jerk reaction is una reacción en el instintivo de hacer algo. Vamos. Sé que fue un acto reflejo, pero eso no significa que esté bien. I know it was a knee-jerk reaction, but that doesn't mean it's okay. Now, the word jerk, he's a jerk, is exactly gilipuertas. Jerk. He's a jerk. He's a jerk. All right. Y se usa muchísimo. No seas gilipuertas. Don't be a jerk. All right. I'm saying the soft way. Eh? There's another way of saying it, etc. All right. Gilipuertas no es Jilly Doors. Don't decimos Jilly Doors. He's a jerk. All right. Or Jilly Poles. All right. A knee-jerk reaction. Ya está. We have finished another page. All right, we have finished another page. A knee-jerk reaction. My God. All right. Gain fluency. How much time do we have left? How much time do we have left? We have plenty of time. We have plenty of time. Where are we? We're at the top of page 75. We are progressing. He lives in a 5-star hotel and has room service dinner every evening in his hotel room. He's been living this way ever since he and his wife divorced 20 years ago. Wow. This is true, by the way. I know a person. This is based on a real situation. Of course, the man is rich. He has money. He and his wife got a divorce. Se divorciaron, él y su esposa. He and his wife got a divorce. Consiguieron un divorcio, así se dice en inglés. O bien, he and his wife divorced. O sea, él y su esposa divorciaron, sin el se. Divorciaron, they divorced. He and his wife divorced. He and his wife got a divorce. Both are perfect. 20 years, well, aquí dice 20 years ago. I don't remember in the real case. And he went to the Via Magna on the Castellana. And for 10 years, aquí dice 20. And for at least 10 years, he lived in a 5-star hotel. Every evening he had dinner. Yeah, he had dinner every evening. In the hotel room, with room service, etc. And he lived that way for at least 10 years. Yeah. And he was working. He was not retired. He was probably about 60 years old. And he worked in the chemical industry in Spain. He was a very important person in el sector químico, in the chemical industry in Spain. Very, very important. And but he was not famous, so it's not one of these famous names. Don't get the wrong idea. Don't get the wrong ideas, no me malinterpretes. No interpretes mal. Don't get the wrong idea. This person is not famous. But he was very important in the chemical industry. And he lived in the Via Magna Hotel for at least 10 years. It's expensive, huh? All right. So he lives in a 5-star hotel, a 5-star hotel, a 4-star hotel, a 3-star hotel. He lives in a 5-star hotel and has room service dinner. Aquí uso room service como adjetivo. ¿Qué tipo de cena? Cena tipo room service, servicio de habitación. He has a room service dinner every evening in his hotel room. Okay. He's been living this way ever since he and his wife divorced 20 years ago. Ever since. Desde que se divorciaron hace 20 años. Pero ¿por qué ever? ¿Por qué no since? También. Yeah. Okay, da igual. Pero ever enfatiza más. Desde el mismo momento en que se divorciaron. Ever since. Ever since. It's more emphatic. Ever since. When you hear ever since, fine. You can also simply say since. So, one more time. He lives in a 5-star hotel and has room service dinner every evening in his hotel room. He's been living this way. He's been living. Los británicos. He's been living. Lleva 20 años viviendo de esta manera. He's been living this way ever since he and his wife divorced 20 years ago. Okay, page 75, the second paragraph. Paragraph 672. Do you see that magic carpet over there next to the refrigerator? I used to fly around on it a lot and take friends for a ride. It doesn't work well now, so I've decided to buy a new one. Okay. Es mi alfombra mágica ahí, al lado de la nevera. Yeah. Yeah. I prefer to make some magic carpet, that does it with a nevera, a refrigerator. Yeah. Okay, do you see that? Do you see that magic carpet over there? Magic carpet. Ahora, una alfombra, solemos decir rug. R-U-G, rug. En inglés americano, carpet es moqueta. De pared a pared, con clavitos, etc. All right? O pegados, como aquí. Right here we have a carpet. It's a carpet. However, the classical word of carpet son alfombras. A Persian carpet, también se Persian rug, or sí, alfombra persa. A Persian carpet, a Persian rug. Very, very nice. But las alfombras voladoras are Persian carpets, never Persian rugs. Or, a flying carpet. Yeah. Or a magic carpet. We can say flying carpet or magic carpet. Mine, la mía, mi alfombra, I call it a magic carpet. I usually don't say flying carpet, all right? Marta subido, ¿te acuerdas? Yeah, she went up, up in flying carpet. But that was when it worked well. Now it has some mechanical problems. It's not reliable, so we need to be careful. No es de fiar, no es fiable, all right? It's not reliable. So, do you see that magic carpet over there? Recuerda, over there es cuando hay referencia visual. Si no, there, allí. Me he dejado la alfombra mágica en casa. ¿Por qué te lo has dejado allí? Why did you leave it there? No puedo decir over there porque no veo tu casa en el rincón ahí, over there. Why did you leave it over there? No, why did you leave it there? All right, over there. Okay, do you see that magic carpet over there? Next to. La T al final de next desaparece con el to, la T de tu. Next to. No decimos next to. Dos T's. Next to. Do you see that magic carpet over there next to the refrigerator? Refrigerator? I used to fly around on it. Antes volaba por ahí. Sobre ella, dice on it. I used to fly around on it a lot and take friends for a ride. ¿Te llevo? Sube. Dice, Marta says, ¿estás seguro de esto? Yeah, don't worry, Marta. Te fías de mí, ¿no? You trust me, don't you? I said, por supuesto. All right. Whew. Yeah, all right. I used to fly around on it a lot and take friends for a ride, a magic carpet ride. There's a song by Steppenwolf, el lobo estepario, Steppenwolf, called Magic Carpet Ride. Look for it. YouTube, Magic Carpet Ride. Escrito ride, o sea, un viaje en alfombra mágica. And it's by Steppenwolf. Now, if you don't remember Steppenwolf, do you remember the song, Born to be Wild? That's Steppenwolf too. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Come, head out on the highway, looking for adventure, and I'm doing it my way. That's Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf is German. For Lobo Estepario, no es inglés, Steppenwolf. But the group is called Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf became famous, the German term Steppenwolf, Lobo Estepario, because of the novel by Hermann Hesse. The German novelist, Hermann Hesse, one of his most famous novels is Steppenwolf. I read it when I was 18, I think, Steppenwolf, but I don't remember anything about it. So, do you see that magic carpet over there? I used to fly around on it a lot and take friends for a ride. It doesn't work very well now. No funciona muy bien ya. It doesn't work very well now. So I've decided to buy a new one. En el Corte Inglés, quinta planta, hay alfombras mágicas. Yeah, you go there. Y hay maridos nuevos en la tercera. Nueva generación de maridos. Okay. New husbands, a new generation of husbands. Yeah, they always say, with flowers and things. And good morning, darling. How are you today, darling? All right. One more. The third paragraph on page 75. Es que con tantos programas, Marta, estoy volviendo un poco tonto aquí. Too much. Es un empacho de inglés, de enseñanza inglés. The fastest way to get, page 75, the third paragraph. The fastest way to get to Barcelona is to fly there. Although I prefer to take the train. From door to door, going by train probably takes an hour longer. But it's more comfortable. This is true. If you analyze going to Barcelona by plane, it takes 1 hour. Boom, boom. Less, 50 minutes. But then you have to go to the airport, check in, wait, board the plane, fly, deboard or deplane, como dicen ahora, and then catch a taxi. So from door to door, it's not much faster than by train, which takes 3 hours. But nevertheless, see you tomorrow.